All right, guys, episode 7 coming at you. Kings of Monaco. Good to see you guys.
Let's go.
We always have fun on this.
Yeah.
And every time I run into somebody in the family, they're like, I listen to you guys. It's pretty cool. Only our family listens to us. So come on.
My mom texts me.
Hey, but we got some
good to see you guys.
We have some fun topics. It's baseball season. LeBeau, do you have any of the noise? Oh no, you don't have the noises.
No noises.
You didn't order
I'm on my iPhone camera, and I'm in the fake library today.
Word.
And all out.
Hey, we're gonna talk about the controversy with Pdiddy. That's a hot topic, and men who use Botox or have tried it. Yes. All right. We're gonna get to it. All right, guys. Where do you want to start? We say that we start with some baseball. We ease into this.
Oh, I thought we were gonna start with a little facelift.
Facelift. Let's do it. Facelift. Come on. All right.
We already talked about the butt lift. Might as well go to the face,
favorite subject.
So, yeah, I'm fascinated by this because I'm going to be 50 years old this year. And, yeah, I mean, I've never really been one to be like overly concerned by milestones or anything like that. Like, I didn't feel any different when I turned 30 or 40. And I don't think I'll feel different when I turn 50. I'm actually aiming to be in the best shape of my life with the best butt in my life with the BBL that we talked about last time. And I'm just curious, like how many guys out there actually do the whole Botox thing? I don't know. So I do a lot of work in California. I spend a lot of time down in SoCal, San Francisco area, just all throughout the state. And there are some guys that look really, really young that I know aren't much younger than me. And I'm just curious, are they using like special lotions, like Nacho Libre with his fine lotions? Or are they doing Botox? I don't know, because you guys can see, the wrinkles right here.
They're drinking bone marrow.
Bone marrow.
I drink bone marrow from time to time. But anyway, have you guys ever tried? Yeah, bone marrow is bomb, dude.
Get with.
Have you guys ever tried the old
bone marrow from where? A cow?
Chicken.
Chicken or beef bone marrow.
Yeah,
animal product that you would eat. Yeah.
Is this a real topic too? Because this is gross.
Is it like what does it taste like?
Well, if you do it right, it almost tastes like chicken broth or bone or beef broth in a way.
But when you go to certain restaurants, they'll have bone marrow for you. It's kind of greasy. It doesn't have a lot of taste to it, but it's kind of gross unless you're used to it. It's kind of like eating escargot, right? You have to develop a tolerance for the texture and then the taste itself. But yeah, dude, it's actually pretty common. It's not that uncommon to eat bone marrow.
I've
how deep in your cave you are.
A wing before and ate like part of the bone marrow in a wing, and that's disgusting, bro.
It's not great. I mean, but to Carlos's point, yeah, if you get used to it, you have a goal, you want it to. It is healthy. And it does help the skin. So there you go.
So can we get somebody to raise their hand who's ever tried Botox or anything in this podcast?
So you guys know my sister, One Spa in Brighton. Shout out One Spa. Let's go.
Now we need to get free Botox sessions for that shout out, just so you know.
We might have to go record an episode there as we record.
We'll all do it and just have her shoot us up.
That'd be
during an episode.
I'm not getting shot up with anything, bro.
Well, here's the thing. I'll talk you through my experience. Initially, depending on where they put it, they can. There's all kinds of different things you can do with Botox. You can increase the jawline. I don't need any help there. I feel like it's got a nice jawline, but you can fix the cheeks. You can obviously get wrinkles and make them go away. And so first time she did it to me, just you feel little pinches. Obviously, it's a needle. It's injecting you. And for at least, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes max, you have like red lumps all over your face. It's really like, what the heck just happened in life right now? Like, I look completely worse. And then after about a half hour, if memory serves me right, it's been a couple of years, it goes down, and then you're like, all right, let's go. And then all of a sudden you realize, you're like, hey, does everybody want to go somewhere? And all of a sudden, like, things like moving your eyebrows and smiling, depending on where you get it, it's extremely limited. And so I guess I knew, but I didn't know. You kind of see. Well, I experienced it firsthand. Anyway, that was my experience. It lasted maybe, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months. I don't remember.
The Botox did?
Like
the
slowly,
your face lasted 6 months?
Yeah,
No,
slowly, like the movement comes back slowly, but yeah, I mean, you really
It's like it comes back slowly.
like, what's up? And it's all delayed. What's up? And after a while, But
I was talking with my wife's her sister. It's been a couple of weeks now, and she was telling me about her experience with Botox, where I guess there's this procedure where they actually lift your eyebrows like that. And they stay like that permanently, apparently. Not permanently, but for the
For a
6
time.
months or whatever.
Sure.
And she was like, I didn't know they were going to do that to me because it's not what I asked for. And she gets home, and I guess her husband was like, what is going on?
Why are you surprised, honey?
I know. Curious. What's the question?
Yeah. So anyway, I am curious. I'm a little curious about the facial manipulation a little bit. Just to,
In my experience, and again, I'm probably a little biased because my sister has a med spa. Really no side effects, really, other than as far as like health or things like that. It's really just takes away some of those unwanted wrinkles, but it does limit the movement in that area of your face. And so give it a shot. I don't know.
Did you have any limitations, like in terms of activity? Because you're a pretty active guy, but did you have to limit yourself as a result of the procedure, or do you even call it a procedure? I don't know what you call it.
I guess you can call it a procedure. Not really, but because I do, I teach cycling classes and teach fitness classes for a living. The more you sweat, the faster it will go, basically the impact of it will be less.
So let me ask this, like the week after you were doing your cycling classes, were you like doing your cycling class and kind of heard mummers like, why was he so serious today? What's up with this guy today?
I got ahead of it before I went in. I went, I told sad stories.
I like to keep the movement in my head, dude. Like, I was always been able to like.
Dude, that's like a toupee.
I remember that. Let me see. I can't do it with these. Yeah, dude, you got some major movement going on right there. But would you guys do it? What do you think? I mean, really, it's going to go away if you don't like it. Then you're gone. You're back to where you were.
Like, honestly, I think there's going to be one point. I'm just going to wake up one morning and be like, what the heck? I look like my dad. I love my dad, but it's like all of a sudden, it's like age has just hit you one morning, and I'm going to be, telling the wife, because she works at a aesthetics place, be like, hey,
we're juiced up on the Commerce City water, though, so we're good for a while.
I think so. That radioactive water has gotten us tightened up.
No, this is a good subject, though, man. Like, this is like, you hardly ever hear men talking about, hey, I went and got a Botox appointment, but it's like just a commonplace for women to do that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, it affects us the same way as it does them, right? Like, we get wrinkles, we get these things and imperfections and things we want to look, better too. I guess we just pay less attention to having to, like, keep those wrinkles away or whatnot. They kind of,
well, it's
men are allowed to kind of age gracefully sometimes. That's where women,
yeah, it's
unfortunate.
No,
kind of a
I was
dynamic.
going to say that.
Yeah,
It's more like men are allowed to be distinguished, you know, in their gray and in their wrinkles, if you will, and women not so much. At least that's what is the culture, you know, kind of says.
And that's not fair by any means.
no, it's not.
It just kind of just seems like it's just that way. I guess we pay less attention to that type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the basic difference, right, between men and women, what's important to us versus what's important to them, you know, as you're seeking relationships. But I guess, you know, I'm just thinking to myself, I think it's time that we normalize men hotness. You know, it's okay for men to be hot with nice butts and pristine skin, right?
So have you guys done pedicures?
I have.
No, I haven't.
What?
No?
No, I had a really bad experience at a massage parlor with my toes.
Well, for one, if you're saying parlor, those were your first.
No. You're like you're asking your barber, like, hey, could you take care of the toes after my hair?
No, I was getting a massage.
BB whatever, and then
I was getting a massage. It was a couple's massage, actually, and my wife was right next to me, and you know, the masseuse was going to town on my feet, and I had an ingrown toenail. And you know, during a massage, they extend your toes like really hard. And she pulled my big toe so hard, I thought that my toe went like through my toe to the bottom of my toe because she pulled it so hard. So since then, I'm just like, don't touch my feet, man. Don't even touch my feet. So I don't think I could get a pedicure if I wanted to.
I've had a foot massage and all that good stuff, but never a pedicure itself. Just like more.
Or have you had a massage with feet?
I may have had pedicure. Yeah, it's whatever. Like,
my wife and I will probably go once every other month and do pedicures together. It's very relaxing. It's a good time for us to talk, connect, and just hang out. Like, and it feels freaking amazing. So I did have one issue or one incident though, because it'd been a long time at one point when we did it, and I'm on my feet all the time, so there was a lot of buildup on my heels, right? A lot of like just thick skin. And this lady, like this, yes, it's calloused, and this lady's like sawing it.
The cheese grater.
Yeah, the cheese grater. And she just went a layer too deep, and then I just had that burn on my back of my heel. It was right where your shoe is, and it's right where you walk every day, and it's right where the Band-Aid falls off if you put it just right there. So
I feel like you're always putting yourself in these kind of situations.
He is.
You're like,
bro. Remember, Joe? Remember the time that you did the waxing thing, dude? Bro,
you did not, dude. You did waxing.
Sorry, I wanted to freaking kick someone's beak.
Hey, can you refresh that story?
No way, dude.
I remember, dude. Like, I just remember he was like, they put that wax on me, and then that first time ripped the thing off, and I just wanted to bleep.
The first time they'll probably ever heard me cuss. Anybody ever heard me cuss? You know, for me, and this is like going back to what Carlos was saying, it's time for men to look a certain way, right? And I think we would all agree, we grew up in our culture was we did look good. We dressed good, right? We matched, and we talked about that on our first couple episodes that we were yet to release. Those were released later, but we always kind of had a sense of style, and I like this topic because why not continue that? Why not continue to look good older? So anyway, all that to say is I was always self-conscious about just being super hairy, like just feeling like a bear all the time. And therefore you didn't want to go, you know, to the pool or, you know, be without your shirt because you didn't want to look all like I don't know, like
Sasquatch.
You don't look like anything other than a human, bro. Like,
I know. Well, yeah, coming from a guy.
The only time it would be okay is The only time it would be okay is on Halloween. That way you could just say your teen move.
Yeah. But I never liked it. And you guys know, like, even since high school, I would shave my legs, shave my arms, like, just really like,
Yeah,
like
I
try
understand.
so anyway, that was what was behind that. It freaking hurt. It was stupid. It was
I always thought it was just for
relaxing.
aerodynamics, bro. Like I thought.
Aerodynamic. Where am I going to be dynamic and arrow at? Like, I don't know.
Dude,
No,
you're lucky you didn't go swimming. You would have like smashed into that pool wall so fast with that aerodynamic body.
Going down the slide.
you know what I think is fun is no, it just came down to like wanting to look a certain way, you know. I think we've all kind of had that.
We did.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in us. I'm not saying everybody has that, but our group of friends, we did. We always wanted to look good. You know, we talked about LeBeau always buying like the top of the line gear. Like you'll spend money on the highest end jersey possible for whoever you want, right? For whatever team it is, whatever person it is. Your shoes are always fresh and ready and clean, you know, and that's kind of how we are.
For
But
sure.
yeah, that hurt. But I mean, little known fact, I did get my hair on my back laser removed years ago. And
So is that permanent
how did
or
that feel?
Come back.
it's permanent. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
What?
It's about 12 sessions. So the first thing you do is like you just shave it as much as you can, or have somebody, right? Because you can't do that. And then it feels like little needles, like pulling out your hairs. It smells a little singy, if you will, like it smells like burnt hair. So the first few are probably the worst few. And then after that, it's just either you build a tolerance for it. I don't know if it was a tolerance or it was just easier, but you know, after about 12 sessions, it kills the root and it never comes back. So,
Whoa.
So,
Yeah.
so I remember LeBeau. I don't mean to put you on blast, but LeBeau has that Indian blood where he didn't grow hair anywhere. He's like his pits, no hair.
Dude, no armpit hair.
He has that Indian blood
I
in him.
started barely getting this like 30, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm
This
right there
is-
with you.
haven't
I don't
shaved
grow.
since our last podcast, like a month.
I feel like I must be half like natives, Mexican, native something, and then the other half is not, because like my lower half is Alvarado, and then my upper half is like Bo. It's weird. It's crazy. So I can't even grow. I can't grow a beard, but I can grow freaking feet warmers.
Your lower half is like
We're gonna go back to the laser hair removal thing real quick, Joe.
so
Dude,
your
there's no
lower half is like Middle Eastern Indian and your top is like Native American Indian.
so it looks like
Yes.
you're wearing some sheepskin pants.
Yes, dude, it's crazy, man.
All right.
Although, you know, I don't really care about it. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I will say I applaud you, Joe, for doing what makes you feel good, because, you know, we have this, I think, this male defect, right, where we feel like men have to act and be a certain way, and we don't always do what we want to do because of that perception. So I applaud you for doing what you wanted to do. I'm still not, you know, sold on Botox, although maybe I'll try it one day just to say I did it.
So
But there's nothing wrong with it.
who's gonna do it, and we'll go record at my sister's. I'll pay for it. Who wants to do it? I mean,
I'll
obviously,
try it. Yeah, I'll try it.
You want to try it?
I'll try it too. He'll try it
Nope.
too. He's
Nope.
trying to
All
punk out.
Carlos is gonna try it. We're gonna record part of an episode, if not the whole.
That's gonna be dope. I can't wait.
We'll do an in-person episode. Vince will be on a screen next to us with this fat head right there.
Yep.
So no, I'll like actually have my wife schedule me at her job, and I could do, and
Let's do it.
we'll
Do it, dude. Let's do it. I'm serious.
All right, so that's
Well,
gonna.
I
be on
just
a
don't
future
know.
episode.
Bro, I don't need my lips to be any bigger, bro. Like these things are already.
We're not talking about your lips.
You don't have to do your lips. Just do.
I would
Like,
say here's the thing. The only thing I would say about the whole Botox thing is that if you really like it, it could get expensive because then you're gonna have to maintenance it, right? You're gonna have
Oh
to,
my goodness,
you're gonna have
it's a
to
little
every 6
pricey.
months or whatever, like however long it lasts a little bit different for everybody else. That was the one thing why I didn't want to do it, because I was like, maybe I'll like this wrinkle-free me or whatever. And then have to keep up with it, right? And then you got to pay for it and stuff. That was one thing that I would caution anybody that might be considering.
So one thing like I would
And
do
Reed knows.
is, yeah, like my eyes right here, like I feel like above my eyes, and just get that area right there.
Can they do that area though?
Yeah.
Your eyeballs are just going to be like bulging out.
Bro,
It just
kind of help any area.
opens up your eyes
I'll
more.
look like Will Smith on Hitch, dude. Or is it Hitch? Or what's
Yeah.
When he has that allergic reaction.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was good. Anyway, we're gonna do that in a future one. Let's move on to baseball. How about that? We'll end with a little controversial stuff.
Yeah, it's baseball season, fellas.
Baseball season.
Does anybody still watch baseball here?
Yeah,
I know we discussed our Colorado Rockies, how like
I don't as much because the Rockies have been such a laughable and not just aren't doing it for us anywhere here in Colorado.
Yeah, but I mean, we still have like there, like if you're like me, I still like, even in the NFL, NBA, NHL, even though the Nuggets right now are so fun to watch, I still like certain players from certain teams to watch them, their styles and everything. So like for baseball, you just kind of gravitate towards some players, and the clip we're going to show is two players who gave us like one of the most exciting seasons in the history of baseball. I don't care if you're not a sports fan, you were glued to the TV. It was must watch TV at this time.
Let's go. You guys ready?
Great setup.
Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, 1998, the home run chase. The previous season, Mark McGwire and King Griffey Jr. finished with 58 and 56 home runs respectively, creating a buzz for potentially breaking Maris's record of 61 in the 98 season. McGwire and Griffey Jr. came out hot with 11 homers in April of 98 and were tied by the middle of May with 15 apiece. However, McGwire would go on a tear and end May with 27. In June, Sammy Sosa would enter the picture with his record-breaking month of 20 home runs, tying him with Griffey at 33, while McGwire sat at 37. Through the summer months would become a two-headed race, as Sosa and McGwire finished August tied at 55 home runs, setting the stage for an epic finish in September. McGwire would break Maris's record of 61 on September 8th, but Sosa reclaimed the lead on September 25th, hitting his 66th, putting him one ahead. That lead lasted about 45 minutes as McGwire hit his 66th home run with 2 games left in the season. And in those final 2 games, McGwire prevailed with back-to-back 2-homer games as Sosa went homerless. McGwire was crowned new home run king, finishing with 70 home runs. Mark McGwire.
All right. Let's talk
Man,
about
was that exciting
That's
to you guys? It was just,
hear music or no?
yeah.
You guys hear music playing.
Yeah. There was Biggie Smalls in the back.
Are you talking about right now?
I'm still hearing music playing in the background right now.
No.
I can hear your audio playing in the background. The startup music.
Oh.
Can you mute the startup music?
I can. If it's playing, yes, sir. Yeah, it's not playing, but I'll mute it just in case it is.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
Okay. Gracias.
And action. I remember when the home run race took off, it was literally like something that you followed every single time they were at bat, right? And you were on the edge of your seat because you knew that something great could happen. I do remember that time when I was a kid, 98. So, I was probably, early 20s at that time, but man, yeah, it was an exciting time for sure. Not just in baseball, but just in general, right? Anytime that something awesome like that happens in sports, it seems like the entire world watches. Other athletes, I'm sure, were watching it just as much as, baseball players were. And that's what makes it fun, because it draws everybody in.
Yeah, man. It like I think one thing that will always carry, and the bad thing about it is because everybody kind of consider that the steroid era,
Yeah.
which do you guys does it diminish what happened at that time for you guys?
You know, I think the emotion of it is unchanged for me personally. But there is always a question: would it have been as exciting, right, if Mark McGwire was not had not been found to be using PEDs? So that's always a question in your mind. But in terms of the memory itself, I mean, you know, it is what it is, right? That's never going to change in my mind anyway. Now, I could see how some purists, you know, we'll use Lance Armstrong as another example, right, of greatness that everybody really held up above every other cyclist. And when they, you know, determined that he was using PEDs as well, it seemed like that really tarnished his entire legacy for people. So I could see how some people would feel that way, but for me personally, the memory's still there. The emotion of it, for me personally, is still there. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, I mean, how about you, Bo? You're
So you know, this is Mark McGwire when he's at a Cardinal, right? Like, my thing was when Mark McGwire was with the Oakland Athletics just before this was when I was his biggest fan, dude. Like, Mark McGwire, you had Jose Canseco, Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't necessarily an Oakland fan, but man, they were great to watch.
yeah.
And then just for some reason he switches teams, and all of a sudden he's hitting, you know, homer after homer out. And then the Cubs with Sammy Sosa hitting homer after homer. When does the whole Barry Bonds thing come in, dude? Because I remember
That's years later.
It's years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
For some reason, I remember Barry Bonds.
those early
also-
2000s.
Didn't he hit like his top home run at Coors Field or something like that? Like, I don't know. Maybe you can refresh my memory, but I do remember this race definitely being a big thing when it came to baseball at the time.
Yeah, it I think one thing about why I wanted to bring up this is because of the excitement. For one, we're like right in the middle of like opening days happening, and it's the one memory that has always carried with me with baseball in mind. I just think, like, you got something like that, like Carlos was saying, anything that is going on that even like in the recent time, you know, even though I'm not like the hugest LeBron fan, but still when he was scoring like the top, he was going to be the top scorer in the NBA. It was still like something you wanted to watch because it's history in the making, you know.
Yeah.
Anything like that is happening. I even think right now what we're watching with Jokic and with the Nuggets, we're watching history right now.
Los Nuggets.
Yeah, man, Los Nuggets right there. that's cool. But yeah, I really think what happened in that time, even with the controversy with the steroids, for me it didn't take away from what was happening at the time, because it, like you said, Carlos, it was what it was at that time, and it was exciting. It was just one of the funnest rides we've ever seen in baseball. And who knows if like people are players before that, even in the early start of baseball, were these guys maybe using something to help them out, you know, in some other form? I mean, I don't know, but I think Joe, where do you, because what do you think about all this?
I think I obviously share all of your memories, and that it was a fun time for baseball. My dad actually had Oakland A's and A's hats. Like, I remember the green
that.
and yellow. And it was more because it was like for Alvarado than it was baseball, because he was, he was from Mexico. He didn't care that much, but it was more like an A for Alvarado thing.
It's funny because
yeah.
Sorry, it's funny that you said that, because my dad, he used to wear the KC Royals hat because first last name, it was KC, so kind of the same thing. Go, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
That matters.
No, and I remember, I still have his coat and his hat, like in my box of memories of my father. So like, this is, a little emotional too for me. I like the topic. I think when I found out initially, it was like the big letdown. And then, over the years where you hear about other sports where they're found using performance enhancement drugs. And then you see like, and I don't remember what sport it was. It might have been Olympic swimming, or I forget, whatever, but they're still only winning by not that much. Right. And then all of a sudden, because you won, you're the one that got tested, whatever. I know they test everybody, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like, maybe it doesn't work for everybody, and the people who are winning aren't winning by that much. If they do win, and I don't know, like, I don't even know what to think of the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's become less of a big deal, I guess, for me. Not that I want people to cheat, don't get me wrong, but I'm not surprised by it. And I'm not like, I guess so many people have been caught. It's like, all right, well, he did, but I bet you half the other team was too. He just happened to edge him out or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm
so in saying this, because of the allegations and everything of the PEDs, these guys are pretty much banned from the Hall of Fame for baseball. I mean, do you guys feel like this is something them, Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco, do you guys feel like this is fair, or do you feel like they should be banned?
I mean, it's hard to say, and the rules always change any way that you look at it, right? There seems to be like some exceptions. There seems to be like some forgiveness in certain things. If we talk about the current controversy with what was the Reds player that played for the Reds, that
Pete Rose,
who got banned from the Hall of Fame forever.
I was going to mention that too.
And so he gets banned from the Hall of Fame forever because one of his friends was placing prop bets on the teams or whatever, or somebody else was placing bets allegedly for Pete Rose for the Reds at the time. But now you have this controversy where Shohei Ohtani has this interpreter that's doing the same exact thing, placing prop bets on him and having the same. And at the moment, no one's making a big deal about it. It's just kind of swept underneath the rugs. It was a highlight on the TV for a time being. But Pete Rose, like you said, great player, outstanding player, is banned for life for basically the same exact thing that's happening currently right now. So it just kind of seems unfair. It always seems like there's like an exception to the rule, or depending on the person, how society sees them, or some. Didn't
Jose Altuve from Houston was accused one season and they won, and then he for sure was clean and they still won? Like, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's like,
there's those type of things too. Like,
that
happen as well, and change the narrative or mix it up too.
Is it fair? I don't know that that's a question that anybody can answer, but it's clear that athletic commissions need to make sure that athletes who are aspiring to be in the major leagues, that are aspiring to be in the NFL, in the Major League Soccer league and NBA, I think have a clear message, right? That you have to come up following the rules. If you break the rules, there are severe repercussions for it. It's tough, man. It's heartbreaking for the player, for sure, and for the fans that support those players. But I don't know that you can get around that because of the intensity around sports. When you get to that level, I mean, your body is already tuned, physiologically to like its optimal performance ever, right? So to Joe's point and to LeBeau's point earlier, do PEDs really provide that big of an advantage to risk, right, your legacy, to risk your future and your past of your career? In my mind, it doesn't. The risk definitely does not outweigh the rewards, but I also have never been, in contention for a national championship, in a professional sport. So I'm sure that they feel a great deal of pressure to deliver, for their teams, for their fans, for themselves, for the families. And that all goes into consideration. But in my mind, I'd like to think anyway, that if I were faced with that same decision, I may decide not to go for it, knowing that, I'm already in peak performance shape, just having that confidence in my abilities. But it's hard to say, man. It's such a tough question.
Yeah.
Man, only if you would have used those, you would have been like the next Jokic. You would have been the first Jokic, right?
The first Jokic.
I turned out pretty good. Maybe the Botox will be my PEDs.
Let's go. Oh my God, haven't heard that one. All right, guys. There's a ton of controversy going on with P. Diddy right now. It's kind of all over.
Speaking of controversy.
Yeah, speaking of controversy, it could be controversial if I can't move my forehead, but it's way more controversial if P. Diddy's involved. And we want to share a little bit of our thoughts here on what's happening. Obviously, P. Diddy has a legacy and one of those moguls of music that had his hands kind of in everything, and now could potentially be facing some jail time, some accusations that are just wild. But when you put two and two together, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, we've been accused of a lot of things, pedophilia and just these rings of, man, I don't even know if me just saying that got this video blocked, right?
I know, right?
But let's talk about it.
Is that an allegation that he has against him right now? Currently, is that one of the allegations?
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking. Yeah. So I take that remark back. That is speculatory from people who have said some things online and people who have kind of.
So I have two thoughts. Number one, I think he did it. I'm just going to go on the record and say he is going to get caught. He's going to go to jail. And I wouldn't be surprised if he turned out like the other guy, Harvey. Was it Harvey?
No, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, Epstein, right. Who ended up supposedly killing himself in jail. There's a lot of controversy around that. I tend to think that a similar fate probably waits Sean Combs, but I do think he did it. Number one, he's a very slimy dude. And here's the thing that really upsets me, honestly, about this type of stuff is the guy, no struggle, right? Nothing was given to him as a kid. Nothing. I mean, being a person of color, he had, those tribulations. Being an underdog in hip hop, he worked his way right into, a position where he could start helping young artists with their careers. So he was no stranger to the struggle of artistry. And for him to take advantage of people who needed his help, for people who were in that same position that he was in before, to me is just such a shame, man. And it really is like, it's beyond infuriating to me, because when you have someone who goes through that struggle, who knows what it's like, and then at some point in the trajectory of their career feels more important than the people that are going through that same challenge, to me is just, I can't even rationalize that thinking. You know what I mean? It's like me seeing someone come up in the same struggle that I had as a kid, and not only not helping them, but taking advantage of them in that moment of despair, right? It's just beyond evil in my mind. But that's my opinion, right? I'm sure that there are a lot of people that might disagree with me on that, but that's kind of where I am. I really hope that he gets what's coming to him.
So yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, there, and like I, just to put it out there, these are all allegations, not guilty till proven not innocent till or whatever. You're it's one of those things where you want to believe that somebody's doing the right thing, but like you're saying, I don't think he was doing the right thing. Not only not doing the right thing, but I think he had his hand allegedly in a lot of these other things that happen throughout the years. Um, the people closest to him, he's got people closest to him dying, getting killed, and the biggest thing that is pushing him to do all these things, trafficking, his businesses, everything, is the chase for money. And how that captivates and grabs a hold of people, so many people, to where they're willing to do anything to be on top of everybody. I mean, it's like, you're like, man, this only happens in the movies. Well, no, it doesn't. This is real. This is stuff that is actually more than ever is being exposed right now. And I think we've all said it because of the platforms that are out there right now, that it's being exposed and put out there. And another thing is, like, I really believe, and it doesn't matter what religion you are, what facet of life you live, everybody knows the difference between evil and good. And there's three parts of that. Either you are evil, you're there fighting evil, or you're a victim of evil. And he's kind of put a lot of people in that middle of being a victim, which is so sad. It's because he had such an opportunity to do so much good in that platform.
Well, it sounds like he's been doing it forever, though. I got a video I want to show you guys real quick, and then let's react to it. Let me see if it'll play in the center real quick.
Yeah, so as soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours. So every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but you know, let me get the first shot of this.
Man.
Minute.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down and you gotta, wear your seat.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
All right, 16.
No,
16.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down, Jess.
Okay.
Let's slow down. Okay.
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion.
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out some girls.
Man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about.
Dude. You guys see that? Any clips of that?
Yeah,
I hadn't
there's-
seen that. No, but that's like beyond creepy, dude. How old is Diddy right there? Like, honestly, he's got to be at least 30, at least, right?
30 something.
Yeah.
What is he doing hanging out with a 15-year-old kid? Like, that's just weird.
Well, and he had no rights to the record. He didn't write anything, any lyrics on the album. He didn't have any production credits. He didn't have anything other than saying that because he was uh, Usher's mentor or whatever, Usher potentially that happened to, who knows, whatever that is that happened, that he has something over Usher that allowed him to get Justin as well for 48 hours and to give him some kind of experience that is undisclosed and and not talked about, right, for 48 hours. So it's a little creepy.
You know what's interesting to me is the additional fallout outside of the celebrity circles, right? So, like, what politicians were involved in this? What other people in influence, were involved in these types of circles? And I think that as the layers get peeled back on this investigation, I think you are going to start to hear about other implications, other people being implicated in it as a result. It's unfortunate that we live in such a world where people, you talked about money earlier, Vince. I think a lot of people get drunk with power as well, where they feel like, they get a high from being able to control other people's lives and having a feeling like they are playing God to a certain degree in certain people's lives. And I think that if the investigation goes the way that I think it will, you are going to see additional fallout from it, which quite honestly, I think is needed, right? I mean, it's about time that people really are lifting the veil or pulling back the curtains on what's happening in Hollywood and what's happening in, political America, because there is a lot of corruption that happens in the highest levels of government and also in the highest levels of artistry as well, that has been happening probably for decades and decades, maybe even longer than that, right? And they tend to prey on people who are hungry for success. They prey on the people who need something and offer whatever it is that they need in exchange for something pretty despicable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what's crazy is Hollywood has been writing the script of good versus evil for so many years, and it has nothing to do with Christianity or whatever. They're writing this with stories ending in good prevailing, which it doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like you're writing the script for it, what is going to prevail. Why are you doing this? Because that your evil is not gonna it's not gonna go good in the end. I just that's one thing I just don't I've never understood, is all these people who choose to live this way. And there's so many like until some of these things, until I see with my own eyes, it's like some of the things that I hear, like you have the whole Illuminati thing, and I'm sure there's some aspect of these secret societies and everything, but as far as what they do, I don't know how far they go with it. Who knows, but the stuff that they are doing, if it does involve the human trafficking and things like that, where you're like, man, it's all going to catch up to them. What I don't understand, because they've written about it, they talk about it in their speeches. Politicians, all of these guys are, they know how it's gonna end, but still they continue to do it over and over again.
Well, aren't you describing someone's addiction? Someone's drug habit, somebody's, they can't shake whatever it is that they're doing. I want to comment on what Carlos.
I don't know. I mean, you talk about addiction. I want to let you finish your thought, but in my opinion, I don't think it equates. I don't think it's the same. I think of addiction as someone being a slave to that addiction, right? Someone who can't literally help themselves. and maybe there is some of that there. I don't want to throw out, that possibility, but I don't see specifically Diddy. I don't see him as a victim at all whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that it equates in my mind anyway.
And I'm not suggesting that's exactly what it is, but there's definitely attributes of that. I guess where I wanted to go with it is I agree with you what you said in the first, part of this segment, that I believe he's guilty too. And I think man with power that has endless resources will continue to push the boundaries and boundaries and boundaries. And we all know, like, if you are not used to something, and I can't think of a great example right now, but when the first time you drove, let's just say 100 miles an hour on 470, it felt like you were going to die. It felt like this is too fast. And then after a while, and maybe we don't drive 100 miles an hour, but let's just take 470. The first time you drive on it, you're like, oh my God, like it's just way too fast. But then you get used to it, right? And then all of a sudden it's normal. And so I think somebody with unlimited resources who is used up everything they wanted to do in life, what else can I do, right? What else can I do? Who else can I control? What else is out there? And it may be weird at first, and then it gets normal, and then we don't talk about it, and then we just keep doing it. Like, I don't know. That's the human condition. I think man, without God, continues to push the boundaries and try to figure out who they are, what they can do, what kind of weird things can stimulate whatever they're missing. And it's just going to keep going and going and going. And if you have unlimited resources and you pair that with those two things, it's going to go really weird after a while.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm thinking about, how we all, right. We're all on a journey, right. Individually, on a spiritual journey, on an emotional journey. And I get that none of us are perfect. I do. And I do have a lot of compassion for people that, are trying to get beyond a certain, let's just say, a certain challenge in their life, right? Because I've had challenges in my life. I think we all have. In my opinion, though, this type of bankrupt character is on a different level to me for some reason.
It is.
I don't know why that is, like it's just like on another plateau to me, on another class of evil and failure and moral bankruptcy.
But don't you think it has to do with having unlimited resources and feeling unlimited?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, absolutely. But there are rumors, and I'll classify it, right? There are rumors of individuals being tied to Diddy circles that don't have those unlimited resources. They have a lot of resources, some of them even being preachers, right? And I don't want to say names, but some of them even being nationally renowned spiritual leaders that
Jacobs.
Let me well, okay, so let me mix it up a little bit, because I want to play devil's advocate for a second here. Carlos, you make great points about the him being disappointed in him about what he could have done so much differently, right? And Vince, you make great points that now is the season of people getting caught, it coming out. And Joe, of course, the points that you made. But what I want to say is let's play devil's advocate for a second. And that's why when I first said the allegations, what are the allegations? Is this something that he's being accused of? I wanted to be specific of that, because when it comes to that, that's not forgiven. You go to jail and you're that type of person, bro, it's not going to be good for you when you're in there. Right. It's not going to be good.
You're not going to last too long.
Not going to last very long. But let's play the other side of things for right now, for a second. Isn't he just an adult doing adult things?
No, dude, that is not an adult thing.
No, I'm not talking about the other side of the child stuff. I'm saying besides the child stuff. Isn't he just an adult doing adult things with adult people? Because all these people, the pastors, the leaders, all these people, they're all adults. They're all well aware of what they're doing and what they're involved in, but like, aren't they all adults doing stuff for money? Like, I heard this saying that there was sex workers and this and that and other. But if they're sex workers, isn't that mean that they're doing that chore for money? And isn't it on them at that point to make a choice to be getting the money to be doing that type of stuff? Isn't it just all adults doing adults? Like, where do you, like, how can we hold them accountable to be an adult when you're allowed, basically?
Well, let me introduce this to your theory. Yes, it's just adults being adult if it's consensual. If someone is consenting to that behavior, then I would say you're absolutely right. You know what? I don't have any right to judge anybody if they're not breaking the law, if they're not hurting anybody, if they're not making somebody do something against their will.
So
But
what is he being accused of that
one word for you, Cassie. Cassie went to sue him. She took him straight to court. They ended up settling outside of court, but because the allegations that she made fell into the federal arena, that's why the FBI ended up getting involved, because of some of the information that she disclosed as part of her proceedings. So in her case, there was definitely a behavior that was beyond just adults being adults.
That was non-consensual behavior.
It was non-consensual. Absolutely.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. That's why I'm asking. Like, I really don't even know what he's.
So, well, and there's a lot of rumors that they would invite up and coming talent to these parties, end up, putting something in their drink, and then, doing what they wanted to do later. Okay. There's a lot of that.
So,
and, you have other artists, right? And it's all, you never know what's true and what's not, right? I'm so far away from this world, and in all reality, I don't know what's true and what is not true. I only know, the information that is given to me through, the entertainment media that I consume. And I take it as such, but based on the information that is out there about Cassie's trial, about Cassie's allegations towards him, and the fact that they ended up settling out of court, right? Somebody settles out of court mostly because they know they're guilty, and they're cutting their losses, basically,
cutting that
right?
losses.
And so when that happens, you have no other reason but to believe, well, gosh, that happened. And while that in and of itself, like, Cassie obviously was an artist. She was a very talented person. That it was tragic what happened to her. But on top of that, all of these other allegations that are now coming out from other people that are in his circle, and you start to really see a more colorful picture of this individual's moral character, right? It's not so much just, somebody made a mistake, right? You start to hear about how his entourage had certain, bottles that they would pass out to women in clubs because, supposedly they had substances in them that would make the women more susceptible to being taken advantage of. And his own entourage would not be allowed to drink from that set of bottles. They had a different set of bottles to drink from.
Okay. So yeah, that makes more sense.
I get their rumors, right? I get it. But if this piece with Cassie is true, then you start to see how everything else after that has a high likelihood of also being true, right? If he's capable of hurting someone that is defenseless, like a woman, the way that he did, and not just him, but some of his people, sounds like would hurt her as well at his request, then you start to see a pattern, right? You start to see how this individual probably has a lot more going on than just bad choices here, right? And that's the piece that, in my mind, I just can't in any way, shape, or form, like, have any sort of compassion towards. Like,
no, that's
I wouldn't even entertain the fact that someone should have sorry for him, or entertain the fact that he should be given the benefit of the doubt, because the fact of the matter is he really hurt some people, right? And I think he needs to be held accountable for it, man.
No, absolutely. And this is the same thing coming out right now with the whole Nickelodeon thing too, with that whole what is his name, Schneider or something like that.
Dan Schneider, yeah.
Dan Schneider, that stuff coming out with them hurting the kids and making them do awkward things and things like that too. Like,
Now I will say, I will add to this because I think that, as a parent myself, I watched a movie the other night. Have you guys ever seen The Sound of Freedom?
Yep.
I just came across it randomly on Netflix. I wasn't looking for it. And a friend of mine had mentioned to me that he liked it a long time ago when it first came out. So I decided to watch it. It's about child trafficking, right? A couple of kids get kidnapped. Ironically, during a talent search photo shoot that their parents drop 2 kids off at and leave them in the care of strangers for an entire day. As soon as that happened, I'm thinking to myself, as a parent
I know
of little girls, there is absolutely no way ever that I would ever leave my kids with strangers for any amount of time. Right?
When was this? That had to have been a different time, right? Like, I mean, but still.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know exactly.
I'd be like Lonzo Ball, like right there, telling them what to do.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. And it's, I don't want to go there, with parent accountability and everything. I get it. Every parent has their hangups. I'm not a perfect parent by any means. But if there's one thing I know, I would never, ever leave my kids alone with someone else, right? Same question comes up with what happened with Michael Jackson and these little kids, right? That he would supposedly have at his house.
R. Kelly.
To me, it's like, where are the parents? Why are they allowing this to happen? Or why are they, even entertaining this? There's no amount of money in the world, dude, at all.
Yeah.
That I would never consider to be enough to leave my kids unattended, right?
It comes with the whole thing where you're saying earlier with Joe, to your point, is when you have that power, you're pressing that power button to these parents and telling them, I'm going to give your kid everything. Yeah. The only thing is he has to abide by this, this, and this, and this, and that's where the power play comes in, where, it's like, man, it's tale as old as time, right? You want the pot of gold. It's like, man, it's been told so many times.
I think there's one important thing we might be missing here too. And we talked earlier about how, why would all of these adults who don't have the same type of resources consent, be a part of it, whatever. There are also rumors that he had cameras in every part of the house.
Yeah.
And so it only takes one invitation for you to bring somebody in who is semi-famous, whatever that might be, whether they be a preacher, another artist that doesn't have the kind of resources to tempt them in the moment, or to be around something that's happening, even if they weren't involved in it, and say, hey, by the way, you're in the back of this video. And if you ever say anything, then I have a video. Right. And so then you got this big hush hush thing. And then you've got so there's that too, going on that has been said, and that it's, when his plane disappeared, when they went or I don't know if it disappeared, it was on its way to out of
Antigua.
Yeah. The rumors are all the evidence is on the plane. So, who knows?
I was watching a clip from Lecrae's podcast, and he was actually talking about him going to a Pdiddy party. Did you watch this?
He might be in trouble, man.
I know. He was like, he was saying that he was with his buddy, and his buddy was like, or a guy that was with him, he's like, hey, you don't want to be here after 1 o'clock.
Right.
And he's like, what? He's like, just don't be here after 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And Lecrae's like, what are you talking about? I'm like confident in my spirituality. I know who I am.
Yeah.
But when it got to that time, it's like he all of a sudden, there's evil in that place, but it got to that time where evil started showing its face.
Yeah.
And he
stopped you things.
Yeah, he started seeing things. He started seeing things, like he was starting to see just debauchery going on, where it's like where he was talking about where people like Carlos was saying, people getting stuff in their drinks and their people being taken advantage of and things like, and he's like, okay, now it's time to go, which hopefully that's true for him. Because but it's like, you know, why are you going to put yourself in that situation in the first place? You know, especially him as a Christian hip hop artist. You know, sometimes even I mean, I hate to bring up his name, but even like TD Jakes, you know, why are you putting yourself in that situation to put that name in, you know, to be able to throw that name out there? I could throw P. Diddy's name out there because this is my boy, you know. I
Well,
just
and part of that could be I want to reach people, you know. I mean, that's a legitimate thing. Who knows? I mean, somebody
on,
famous.
man.
No,
I
you know,
And I remember, like, it's people always talking about T. Diddy having an all-white party and this and that and the other. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to go to like an all-white party of P. Diddy's? Like, that sounds like a fun thing to do, right? Like,
well,
catch me there all day long, bro. Like, I
yeah,
was signed up, you know?
yeah.
Either way,
I mean, you know, hindsight's 2020, as they say, right? Like, you know, I think that when the white parties were at the height, they were on MTV. That was the place, the coveted place to be. I totally get it, and you know, I suppose that there were probably some artists that dreamed of being in those parties, not understanding, you know, what was actually happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would have had no idea.
But like, but like to what Lecrae was saying, if somebody told you, like, man, you don't want to be here after 1:00, I mean, is your like the curiosity in you
Hell no,
gonna be
I'm
like,
staying, bro. I'm gonna make sure I stay at 2:00 because I'm gonna try to find out what's going down at 1:00.
Because that's LeBeau style. No, I totally get it. I totally get it, dude. But here's the thing. I have trust that you're not going to be breaking any laws. I have trust that you're probably not going to be doing anything, you know, that's going to be hurting somebody else. I get the fascination with Hollywood. I totally do. Even though I've never been, you know, big on being starstruck. I was starstruck one time in my life. And I think you guys know about it. We were
It's
playing
when you
with
met
the
Joe.
Newsboys. No, it wasn't with Joe. It was when we played with the Newsboys in Estes Park, and you know, awesome. I was using the payphone, and Peter Furler walked by, and he smelled so good, and I was like, "Holy crap! Oh, that's Peter Furler, man!" That was the only time that I was like, "Whoa, that's Peter Furler." But other than that, I've never been someone who's like, you know, impressed with status or anything like that. But I do understand that there are people who really, you know, are into that stuff, right? Where they even get Twitter pated. Is that even a word anymore? Have you guys heard that word? Twitter pated. Where they get Twitter pated with just, you know, social media personalities. It's like, come on, man. You know, but I get it. Totally get it. But the other side of me again is like, there's just that. It's not the same level of debauchery. Like, dude, I have had debaucherous nights. My wife will tell you I have been off the handle. She will tell you that, and I admit it. But to me, this like, man, dude, this is just.
I want to be at that play. I want to check that out.
Yeah, because I think I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't think there's innocence in this room of ours right here. I mean, I think there's been some point, you know, or points in our life. I mean, there's things, but what you were saying, Carlos, earlier, this is a whole other level of evil that it's not. It's just way above what anything that is your debauchery is. Just a guy having a little bit too much fun, but in a I don't know. In that, I guess that's
cash. Imagine what that looks like, right? Like,
yeah, I do carry big wads. Or are you talking about somebody else's cash? Sorry,
somebody else's cash.
I thought you were talking about my cash.
The P. Diddy cash. level.
Hey, I'm gonna throw this out there just to change up the tone a little bit. Did you guys know that the guitar player from Newsboys is actually on The Voice this season?
Who is?
I didn't know that.
The guitar. His name is Brian Olison.
What is he doing?
There,
Yeah.
he's singing on The Voice. He's a contestant. I don't know
Are you serious?
how far. Yeah, and he's actually really good. I just, you brought up the Newsboys being starstruck. That was the old school, again, the guitar player, he's 49 right now. He's our age. He's competing. He has a great voice. I didn't even know he sang. I mean, I knew that they all kind of backed each other up, and you've got the lead singer and such. What's his name?
Michael Tate.
Michael Tate. But yeah, he's a great singer. He's a great singer. I don't know if he's still on it. I haven't followed enough episodes of The Voice, but anyway.
Dude, I just saw them in concert like a few weeks ago. I took the girls, my wife and I took the girls to their show with Mercy Me. The Newsboys were definitely the best that night. And
Tate, man, that dude.
They throw down, bro. They throw down. Tate sounds so good. And these other guys, that guy, I didn't know he was on The Voice, but dude, he can play guitar and he can sing for sure. Like it's a Newsboys, like, better than ever.
Oh,
like, they were really good.
Those, I believe, to end like on a lighter note, I think those guys are true. Like we've come across a lot of artists through our journey that you're like, man, is this guy faking the funk, or is this guy the real deal?
Yeah.
And the Newsboys, those guys were the real deal.
Yeah.
Fully believe that.
Yeah.
I can tell you who's faking the funk.
What?
Yeah, dude.
I can tell you who's faking the funk. Remember SSMOB?
Oh my god.
Bruh. You can't say names. You can't say names. Dude, yeah. No, talk about faking the funk. No, I feel you, man. There's a lot. A group that did not fake the funk that we need to have on is Preachers in the Hood. We got to have our brothers on, man.
I ran into Aaron to Flo, as some may know him, at Micro Center. We were geeking out on computers. He was buying a computer for his boss, and I was looking for a backpack. That's going to be on the next episode. Flo, we're going to reach out, buddy. We want you on. We want you on, homie. Hey, it's been a good conversation, guys. I appreciate everyone listening, the time you spend ingesting whatever kind of fun or whatever stuff that we put on. Appreciate everybody. Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys a video one day. You're going to trip.
You're gonna
as long as it involves you wearing clothes.
Hey,
I'm all right.
I need to consent to that.
No promises. No promises.
Let's go. All right, everybody.
You need to consent? Is that what you said?
Yes.
All right, guys.
Here, we'll see y'all later. Take care.
See ya. Peace.